getting land, oil rights, whatever we had. They took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching, but they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back.
Well, it's actually not totally clear what it means because the president mentioned sanctioned oil tankers. Now, in principle, there are sanctions on Venezuelan oil. So you could understand that as saying any tanker carrying sanctioned oil, that is oil from Venezuela. Or you could think that it applies just to those tankers carrying Venezuelan oil that have been explicitly sanctioned, which still are about 40% of the fleet that carries Venezuelan oil. Now, the thing is that Venezuela doesn't do this by choice because the country's sanctioned. It's hard for it to get tankers to transport its oil. So basically, it's trapped in this situation where it's using these tankers that the U.S. does not accept. But the bottom line is that the U.S. has imposed very tight sanctions on Venezuela, and now it's enforcing them through military means. Now it's effectively saying, I'm going to stop the tankers carrying that oil. Well, it can be disastrous. It can be catastrophic. If Venezuela suffers a decline of 50% or more in its oil revenues, then we're talking about the country's economy contracting by double digits, possibly by 20-30%. So that would be the equivalent of a Great Depression in Venezuela. And this is a country that's already reeling from an economic collapse. Its GDP declined by 71% between 2012 and 2020. More than a quarter of the population has left the country. So if you go to this stage of maximum pressure, you're going to have another massive exodus and quite possibly a famine in Venezuela, or at least very serious food shortages. I mean, Trump yesterday actually talked about the oil, which is something he had always referred to: drugs, migration, but not the oil. He appears to be referring to some renegotiation of oil contracts that Hugo Chavez did in 2007. This is something that happens in many countries in the world. In fact, there have been many nationalizations, and Venezuela's oil industry was nationalized in 1976, much before Chavez came to power. But these renegotiations are the type of standard things that countries change their laws and they change the conditions for foreign investment. So it's something that's in fact pretty normal. I mean, threatening to invade a country because they'd renegotiated its contract with oil companies, or even because they decided to nationalize its oil industry, is something that we definitely have not seen in the last century.